Well, hello.
Uh,
Hello. That sounds very.
Hi.
Hi, cat, get out of the
Yeah.
way. Oh, coffee. Bring some for everybody.
Oh, yeah.
That
That
sounds
sounds good.
good. Be right back. I'm going to Starbucks.
I know, right? Like, at first I was like, are they open? Because it feels later, but
Yeah,
so,
I think they're open. Some of them are open to 10, or at
yeah,
least the ones around here are.
yeah.
Yeah,
On New Year's though, they close
like
at like 4, I think.
4. Yeah. What are you doing, Boo?
And I'm
Oh
like, you should
no,
stay open later because we need our espresso
Daisy.
shots. Hey, Stacy.
Can
He
you,
honks.
Cody and Sobbin?
Sobbing.
That's funny.
Yeah, she's known as Sobbin Robin.
Sobbin Robin. Oh my goodness.
Because all she does, well, I would say all she does is cry, but it's not really. There's no tears, so
Oh,
it's
fake
like
tears.
she's trying to cry. Nobody else
Crying with
cries
no
like she
tears.
does. Even yeah, even like the good stuff. She'll just start crying, and it's like and she'll wipe her eyes, and there's nothing
Oh, I
there.
hate
So,
that when they dab and there's nothing there. It's like, come on, just don't.
yeah, it's like the dirt tears or the dry tears.
Yeah.
And so, how was everybody's holiday? Those that celebrated.
Those that celebrated, yes. And Hanukkah and Kwanzaa started today, I think. Might have been yesterday.
Hmm. See, I think so. I took
Just
down
maybe you
all
don't
of
have to be
my.
quiet. Already?
Uh-huh. I did.
Oh,
I know it's weird because like my in-laws were with us for about a week and then they left yesterday morning and I was just looking around I'm like I feel sad like the family's like gone like Christmas is
aw.
over so
You always
it was
put it up so early because you like it or to, have your stuff around. I'm
yeah,
surprised you took it down so early.
yeah, the only thing that's up is my tree with no ornaments on it
Uh,
and normally I leave it up till like the new year and that's like my New Year's Day project but I was like I don't want to look at it anymore. I'm taking it all down.
oh, oh,
I did leave up some like winter stuff, like some of
yeah.
my little trees and snow things, but yeah, everything's all put in a tote and put away till next year.
So what's the next holiday you'll decorate for?
Oh gosh. I do my coffee station for Valentine's Day. That's pretty much it. And mm, there's really not like it's mostly my coffee bar that gets decor. Like my kitchen will get like some flowers for spring here and there, but
Oh,
yeah, like fall and Christmas are really the only ones where my
the two
house
big
gets
ones.
yeah.
Uh,
Everything else is just little
little
touches here
bits.
and there.
Well,
And that's what's
good.
kinda nice too, is I don't have to put a ton of stuff out and
Yeah. Put it
change
all
it.
back. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Valentine's Day well, because 'cause they're already putting out stuff for Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day, and Easter,
Ugh.
like, on all the
Easter. Oh my
uh-huh.
goodness. That's
'Cause
crazy.
I forget it might have been Instagram, but a lot of the small businesses, they're already putting out, like, little Easter decors and, like, it's not even the New Year.
Yeah.
Like, Easter is not even on my mind.
Oh, yeah. Far, far from my mind as well. Well, hello, just saying.
Hello, hello. Hi,
How
everyone.
how are you
Party's
doing?
here.
Party
How
is
are-
definitely here.
Yes, yay. Oh my God. Robin, oh my God. I can't watch this no more. I can't.
Well, for
I thought
those of
she was
you,
She was so ridiculous.
I
How
think
was
all of
ever?
you know. Oh, I just gonna say, I think all of you know probably. Well, all of you know who Carly is because you're all regulars, and I think most of you know who Just Sayin is. But in case you don't, we're happy to welcome Just Sayin back for another round with us. This time, talk about with Carly about all things. I was gonna say all things Just Saying. Yeah, we're gonna pick into your brain about everything. Get down to all of those details that everybody wants to know. Um, all things sister wives. So if you want to share this with people that you know who love the Sister Wives and all things about them, please share this video. Do all the YouTubey things as well, like and comment and help us get into that algorithm. But I don't watch the Sister Wives, so I'm just here to introduce and say hello and drop down and listen in with the rest of you. So I'm gonna step back and let you two at it.
All
Thanks,
righty.
Grace.
Okay, so I can already tell you've got a lot to say, so I'm gonna let you start. How
Oh,
do you?
no, you go. You go. Oh, how was everybody? How was your Christmas? How was Christmas, first of all?
It was good. Like it was relaxing. Like I had my in-laws in town. We didn't go anywhere. Like we opened gifts, and
Mhm,
my kids slept in of all
mhm.
days. And so it was just in our PJs, doing eating food, whole lot of nothing. How was
Right.
yours?
The same, busy, family, you know,
Yeah. And
visiting
do you
in-laws.
host?
Not this year, I didn't, but we were going from house to house to house. I have like five godchildren, so we were constantly visiting.
Oh, oh wow.
Christmas Eve, I was at we visited two godchildren on Christmas Eve, and then my in-laws, and then for back to my family for we were at my sister's for breakfast and lunch Christmas Day, and then back to my in-laws for dinner. It was a lot, and we were still visiting people up until yesterday, but it's
Wow.
okay. Things are finally quieting down. I've been so busy. I keep missing everybody's streams. I'm up till like 3 o'clock in the morning, catching replays of everybody's streams. Uh,
Yeah.
my kids hockey, it's my daughter's last year of high school, so it's
Oh,
university,
yeah.
like applications
Oh,
and stuff like that, but everything's starting to slow down a little bit, so hopefully I can catch everybody's streams again. But
yeah.
Sister Wives, can we talk about that? Where do you
Man.
want to go with them? I don't
Well,
know where to
so
start.
I haven't seen. So today I watched the part one of the, what's it even called? The talk about it, that one. I haven't seen the other one because for some reason, because I have it on Max, I don't have TLC or whatever, and they're not airing them there. So you have to have the TLC apparently. So I haven't been able to see these specials, all of them so far. But do you see them yet?
I did see the second one. I just
Okay.
watched it on TLC.
Oh, okay.
I was able to watch it on TLC. So you haven't seen Robin crying when she get.
No, no. Was that the same one where she started freaking out when they were showing the commitment ceremony scene?
Yes, and I
And
thought,
that, oh,
this is what sets you off. Out of everything,
yeah.
this is what sets you off.
And that's what's so weird is I remember watching that episode and thinking this is just so over the top just to put some sand in a thing and say a little speech. Like maybe that's tradition for polygamy, I don't know, but it felt just like a storyline. Like plan a party and let it last 4 episodes.
Yeah, it was a reason to plan a party. Remember around that time they were doing a party for everything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like somebody sneezed and oh, let's have a party. And then they had the adoption. I think was that the same year that they had the adoption? And then the whole party for that.
it could have been, or maybe it was the season, right? It was all around the same time of Mary's catfish.
Yeah. All
Because
that.
I don't think that they were on good terms, Cody and Mary. I think the whole catfish thing was
Yeah.
it was either, I mean, you can see the disconnect between
Yeah.
her and the rest of the family at that time. So I don't know if it's while she was talking to Jackie, thinking it
Yeah.
was a man. So it may
Oh,
have been at the
Jackie.
time of why she was. Oh, Jackie! Oh my God! Jeez.
When I heard that they're gonna touch into that tomorrow or the next whenever the next I don't know why they're doing it this way, but I guess they're gonna touch more on that, which is weird because wasn't Robin supposedly part of all that?
Well, apparently she was somehow a friend of hers, Kendra, Kendra,
Kendra. Yeah.
Kendra. I can't remember how Kendra was connected to Jackie.
Yeah, I want to say they were just friends or something, but it's like, Robin, it looks weird that your friend is catfishing your sister wife.
Or your friend's friend. Or
Yeah.
how does your friend know? Except I don't think Kendra even knew, or at least when she went to Robin to tell her about it, I don't think Kendra knew it was a woman or pretended she didn't know. She was just implying she's having an affair or she's having an online affair or whatever, or she's about to
Yeah.
leave you guys. And Robin claims that she then turned to her friend and said, I don't want to hear about this anymore. Unless you have proof, I don't want to hear anything about it. I don't believe that to be true.
No, because I've heard so many people say they think Robin had a hand in it to help break up Cody and Mary, which I don't really know why, but why does Robin do anything? She all these years she acts like we haven't seen the show. So she's, I don't know why they think I'm the favorite. I don't know why they think blah blah blah. It's like, do you watch your own show? We see everything.
Here's the thing with Robin and Cody. Nothing is ever their fault. I've never heard them say, I handled this wrong. Yes, I was wrong. Yes,
No.
I under or Robin, even looking back at footage, be able to say, my my intention was never da 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 da. However, I can see why they feel this way. Never.
Yeah.
Never. It's always like, we didn't do anything wrong. That's not true. I'm always telling him to go, you know, try harder with his sister wives, go, see them more. And that's simply not true.
Yeah, because she said she is encourages Cody to work things out with them. But then at the same time, she's like, my kids weren't seeing him enough. And, they were really missing him. It's like, so which is it? Were you pushing him away or towards you? Because remember when he went to Mary's B&B thing because he was getting Janelle's RV and he's
Right.
like, oh, I got to head back home. And he'd only been away a couple days from Robin. So
Right.
it's like, why can Solomon and Ari, like, he's got, because Truly and Solomon, they're not that far apart in age.
Very close in age. Yeah.
But he's always like, I got to be there for Sol and Ari, or I have to be with Ari until she's 21. It's like, but Truly is a young teenager. Savannah was still, I think, 16 when COVID was all going on. So it's like, I didn't know there was an age limit to where you need to see your kids.
And he was unable to do that for the other kids. He wasn't able to
Mhm.
truck 13 kids to school every day himself. He didn't do any
Mhm.
of that stuff. And
No.
of course, all children need their dad just as they
Mhm.
need their mom. But logistically, you can't, when you're a polygamist, you just can't do that. There's not enough hours in the day. And why
No.
21? I mean, isn't
Yeah.
do these children plan on going to college? Hopefully, away as far away as possible. There's something going on with Solomon. He's a very quiet child, but
Yeah. Well, did you see where it might have been a bonus scene where they were out playing at Mary's little playground at her house, and Solomon's just trying to go down the slide, and Robin's like, "No, no, 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 no! You can't, be careful!" It's like it's a slide. He was what, 8 or 9 at the time, so I think she shelters the crap out of those kids, like
and
makes them afraid of the outside world.
yes, and he seems very, listen, and a lot of people are, but he seems very, very closed in, very introverted.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that's good for him.
No.
I think everything is so confusing for him because the other children, okay, so all the parents were, okay, so all the mothers were already married to Cody before the first child came along, which was Logan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they didn't have to adjust to polygamy and having multiple mothers. And why is my dad married to multiple women?
Right.
That's all they knew.
Yeah. They're normal.
That's all they knew. Um, with Solomon, it seems like he hasn't really adjusted to it, even though that's kind of all he's known. it must be confusing. Well, these are my real children. These are not my real children. However, they are my children. And these are your biological sisters, but it must be
Mhm.
very confusing for children. Like
Yeah.
really, really confusing for children. Um, there's so much. I
And
don't know.
because they never had to live it either, because when she married into the family, she was living like away from, she wasn't living in their one house. Then they moved to Vegas in the 4 houses, and then Flagstaff, 4 different houses.
Right.
So it's like she's never even lived polygamy herself, let alone her kids. And so when she's like, my kids don't know their siblings, it's like, well, they didn't grow up together, like, other than when they'd have dinner and the 15th party of the year and all that.
Right.
So, and speaking of, what did you think of the gift exchange debacle?
I think it was a setup. I think Robin, and she has now unfortunately passed that on. It was a setup on. Robin knew she was going to go in there and she was going to turn the thing on its head because
Yeah.
she knew that they would never agree. Okay, so I guess unless I have this wrong, it's my understanding that this is something that the kids have always done. Maybe they haven't been able to do it for a couple of years because of the pandemic, but
Hmm.
they felt like we're going to do this now. It's something they've always done where just the kids as they got older, you know, when they were
Hmm.
younger, obviously it was being done with their parents, but it was just the kids were all getting together and just doing a gift exchange, and they wanted
Right.
to do it in person. Robin came in and said, "No, let's do it over FaceTime. It has to be a virtual one."
Yeah.
They knew that they were never going to agree to that.
Mm-mm.
She had to have known. I mean, they wanted to do this as a family in person. They don't get to see each other very often. It was an excuse for everybody to come together and actually see one another, because they're busy,
Yeah.
school, military, jobs, married, children, everybody's kind of scattered.
Yeah.
A few people, like a few of them live close together. They get to see each other throughout the year more often, but it was a chance for everybody to come together. And she's like, no, the only way we're going to do it is if it's done virtually because we're afraid of the virus. And
Yeah.
they're like, no, that doesn't work for us. Oh, you're not willing to work with me on this one. Well, there's really nothing to work on, right? This is what
Yeah.
we're doing. And then you
Yeah.
want to come in and say, no, this is not how we're going to do it. This is how we need to do it in order for my children to be included. I think that was really unfair of her to do. If you
Oh,
don't
yeah.
if you don't want, or your children don't feel safe or comfortable to do it in person, then they don't have to participate.
Right. It's
But
like it's Christmas of all days. Like, it's not, you know, like,
like
why ruin that?
she always wants, like, she wants 13 other well, I think it's more now because it's now spouses too, right? And
Yeah.
so she wants 20 other people to bend to her children, to make her children feel more welcomed. It's always been about her children, which
Yeah.
is really sad, because, and I think Janelle hit on it. I think, well, she started to talk about it. I can't remember if it was for in the first part of this kind of rewatch um, old videos or old episodes, sorry, or the second part. But she did touch on it. But she said, we were all married. Our children only knew this. You know, adjusting to Robin was completely different to them, and we didn't listen to them. We didn't let them have a choice. We didn't let them really have a voice about it. So
Right.
now they never had to get used to other kids. They were just being raised all together. They didn't care that, some of them had different, they were all raised as brothers and sisters. Now you have these three strangers come in, you know, when they're
Hmm.
now like 13, 14, 15 years old. Some of them are just about to graduate high school, saying, you now have to accept these children as your brothers and sisters, and they never gave them any time to adjust to that.
No. because it was, so they had Robin, like new mom, 3 new siblings. Oh, then we have to move in the middle of the night, leave everything you love here, your friends, you can't say bye, to a whole new place. And on top of that, oh, we're having another baby. It was like, and we're going to be on TV. It's like you threw so much change at them and then have the audacity to get upset when they're not like, drowning you with love when you say, "Oh, I'm pregnant." It's like it reminded me of like when parents split up and then dad gets a new wife and then she's like, it's an adjustment. You're not typically like, "Oh my god, yay," unless, you have a great relationship, but it's like she expected them to just react a different way, which wasn't fair, and I think she's always held that against them and never gotten over it. Like she's always been really weird about Hunter and I think it was Madison, like some of those kids, like she's always been weird around them.
Right. Yeah. They weren't just as, it's not that they weren't, okay, I think it's their reasoning. It was, my dad's already spread so thin, I don't ever get to see him. Now I'm never going to see him at all, kind of thing.
Yeah. And then got to, like, she had the big wedding and then an 11-day honeymoon because when he's gone, you have Logan and Aspen who are having to pull his duty. And Truly was what, a few months old? Like she was a newborn. So
Right.
it's like and then having to take on 3 more kids while they're off doing whatever in California. And then when she says, "Oh, I needed this," it's like, why did you need an 11-day honeymoon? Like, even average people don't do that. Monogamy
Right.
people.
Right.
So it's like, no, I think she loved coming into the family, being on TV, because I think she looked at Mary, Janelle, and Christine, because she even said on the couple tell-alls ago that they had weight gain and stretch marks. And so I think she looked at them and thought, like, I'm going to be the hot commodity in the family. I'm going to be the favorite. All that. Like, I think she planned from the get-go to be where she's at now.
Yes, I've always thought from the beginning. There was something about her I didn't like. She would the way she moved. I didn't like what she was doing. I saw what she was doing. It was very transparent what she was doing, but she'd always mask it as, well, I didn't say anything because I didn't want to hurt them. But from the get-go, she was keeping secrets. She, like, with the whole dress thing.
Yeah.
Do you remember that gets brought up in the
Yeah.
second episode when
Mm-hmm.
Cody finally said, "Oh, I've got a big secret." Do you remember? I think it was first season. Did they get married the
Yeah.
first season? The actual wedding, was it the first season?
I think the finale was their wedding of season 1,
So
but
it
she didn't
may
show up until halfway through.
Right. So it may be he came out with, "Oh, I actually picked out the dress maybe the beginning of the second season." And
Yeah.
she said, "I didn't want," she goes, she says, she goes, "I'm a little upset that he did that. I didn't want to hurt them, so I didn't never wanted them to know that." Well, you came in like you came into the family already keeping stuff from
Yep.
the sister wives, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's a telltale
Yeah.
indication.
And then,
I've never liked Robin. I really never have liked Robin. I think her goal was I think she's crazy in love with Cody. I think he has not had a physical relationship with any of them. Maybe a couple times maybe a few times here and there with Christine and Janelle, because they were probably giving him a whole lot of heat about it. Certainly not with Mary, but I just think her plan was to, I don't think she cared
slowly
about,
push them out.
yes, I don't even think it was slow. I think it was right from the get-go.
Yeah.
It was, I'm going to be the favorite wife. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be the legal wife. I'm going to be the head wife. And I'm going to monopolize all his time, and my children will be more important than your children, kind of thing.
Yeah. Because remember when, well, because now he's saying he never loved the other 3, but remember when Mary approached him about I thought about getting divorced from you so you can marry Robin and adopt the kids. And he seemed weird at first, like, wait, no, this is nothing more than a business transaction. We're still married. I'm still your husband, blah, blah, blah. And now that he's saying he never loved her, I mean, I've always had a feeling that it wasn't just Mary's idea, that I think they kind of pushed her to do it and be like, it can be all your idea. We'll give you the credit and the family will love you, blah, blah, blah. But now that he's claiming he never loved her, like, was the whole adoption an excuse to finally divorce her?
Well, I always thought they were behind it as well, because it also, it was a really easy choice for Mary to make, because I think that was while she was talking to, who was the name of the, who did she, Sam
Sam.
Sam.
Yeah.
That was while she was with, talking to Sam, and I think she believed Sam really existed, and I think her plan was to eventually leave, and she's
Oh.
probably thought, oh gee, how am I going to get out of this situation? You know,
Oh. Yeah.
I'm married and there's 3 other wives and a whole bunch of children, except I'm not really, my daughter's now off. Well, her daughter at the time, Leon, was now
Yeah.
off at college, you know, so she wasn't responsible for raising her own children anymore, right? She's raised her daughter, right? So it's not like I
Yeah.
have to stick around because I have 6 little ones, you know, that I have to raise. She wasn't in that position. She was in a very different position. So when they, see, this is where I think possibly they may have been behind the catfish somehow.
Cody and Robin?
Yes. Or
Oh, really?
I don't know if they were behind it,
But just were aware.
or if they they came to her knowing that, okay, it's going to be an easy sell. We
Yeah.
know that she wants to leave the family. We know that she's talking to another guy and her plan is to eventually leave. We're going to give her, Robin probably said, this is the perfect opportunity to come up with a reason why she needs to be the legal wife.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't understand why he has to be legally married. I don't understand why he has to be legally married to her in order to adopt her children.
He
I think
didn't.
I never understood that part. I thought as long as the other parent, meaning her ex-husband,
Mm-hmm.
relinquished his rights to the children, anybody could adopt them.
Right. Because even like their uncle could have adopted kids if they wanted to. Like there's a whole lot of reasons why other family or even like family friends sometimes have done it. So yeah, they didn't need to be married to do it. Or why didn't they say, oh, well, when, everything's all said and done, we could get married right back, or I could legally marry Christine or Janelle. Like, I'm surprised none of them said that, because I think it was just Christine that said, it makes me sad that I'll never have a marriage license with you. And Janelle was kind of like, oh, whatever, it's a piece of paper. I don't need that. But that was when Christine, I think, was like, I'm never going to be someone's actual wife. And Janelle could see that it was going to change everything. So, like, they all knew. Like,
Janelle knew it was going to change everything financially, and that's why I
yeah.
think they did it. With
Mm-hmm.
Robin, okay, so with Mary being the only legal wife, if anybody ever split, she
Mm-hmm.
now had anything Cody had his name on, she
Mm-hmm.
legally has right to. I think this was about getting, I think they've planned this, Cody and Robin have planned this from the get-go. They
Mm-hmm.
realize it's, I only want to be with you kind of thing. But it's not that simple, because I am financially tied to these women.
Yep.
I mean, and Robin's like, if you and I split up, Mary could literally come and take half of my home, and then you take the other half, kind of
Yeah.
thing. You know what I'm kind of,
Yeah.
So I think this was a way of them, everything. I think every single move was a way to get Robin and Cody in control of all the other women's assets, which pretty much they have, except for Christine.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing
And
Christine got out of it was her house, but she had to also give up her part of Coyote Pass in order to be able to. And it was just a swap there, which I don't think she should have done. I think she should have stuck it out.
yeah. And Steven, he did adopt all three of her kids because I guess at first the Robin's ex-husband, he was kind of dragging his feet about it. But I mean, I never seen confirmation. It's just a rumor, but allegedly they were telling him, if you agree to sign away your rights, we won't come after you for any money, like no child support, no medical bills or anything like that. Because I had heard that he
I remember
was,
hearing the same.
yeah, because he didn't want to be on the hook for Dayton's bike accident because he had to have that surgery and all that. And he was kind of like, well, that happened under your watch. Like, why should I be responsible for paying for that? So,
Right.
yeah, supposedly it was. And then I've heard that they threatened him and all that. But then I've heard recently that Dayton is now like living with him, helping take care of his dad, and
That's
supposedly
what I
changed his
heard
name back.
too. That's what
Yeah.
I heard too. Because there's no mention of him. You don't see him. I don't
No.
recall this past Christmas episode in this past season. Was he even there?
Yeah, he was because when Cody was making those weird crepe things, he was in the kitchen, like
Oh,
covering
was
his
he?
nose. Yeah, but he didn't like say anything.
Right. I mean, maybe he was visiting. I thought I found
Yeah.
it weird because I heard he's living on the property, but in like a separated guest house. That's
Yeah,
kind of.
it's like an RV like Janelle's,
Oh.
like right on the side of the house. And because I remember I think it was when it was Halloween and Cody and they were letting the kids trick or treat around the house, and people were like, "What's that like camper RV thing doing there?" And they're like, "Oh, that's Dayton. He's living in it." And so it's people are like, "Well, why doesn't he live inside the house?" And then there's rumors that he didn't want to follow the COVID rules, but Robin didn't want to kick him out, so that was their compromise. But never heard 100%, but it's weird because I don't know.
I
And
I also heard that he wanted to move out. He just wanted to get like he thought, okay, I want to get my own place. Maybe he was getting, wanted to move out and just, move
yeah,
in with a buddy or just get his own place and, hovering, Robin, the helicopter mother,
yeah,
but in all the wrong ways.
yeah,
I think we're all helicopter moms to some degree, but
yeah,
just not. But and so they compromise with him, saying, "Listen, we'll give you this, kind of just to keep him close." But then I
yeah,
also find it weird that he hasn't really. Maybe it was his choice. Maybe he said, "I don't want to be part of this anymore." Maybe he was
yeah.
getting bothered about it. Maybe I don't know. I
Hmm.
don't know. Maybe he just wanted to live independent of this show because. And just as the other kids have too, maybe he's come to that spot too. You're never going to see Aurora or Brianna ever get to that point. I think both of
No,
them are going to end up being sister wives themselves. I have a feeling that Aurora might end up being
I
her
mean,
own
I think she'd
mother's
be the one. She'd
her
be the
own
one.
mother's sister wife. It's weird. It's weird.
Well, did you
Oh.
see when Peyton went on John Yates' channel, that interview? Did you see that?
No, I saw bits and pieces. I can only watch John Yates in doses.
Yeah.
I can't.
Well, Peyton said that when it came down to moving, because Dayton had got into NAU and hence the whole Flagstaff move. And Peyton said Dayton didn't want everyone to follow him. Like he wanted like his independence. Like that's why he chose an out of state college. But Robin said like, well, if you go, like she didn't trust him to be on his own. So that's where the idea of Flagstaff came from. And I said, seriously? Like, is he just never allowed to grow up? Like, what happens if Aurora wants to go to NYU? What if Brianna wants to go to UCLA? Like, is she going to follow all of her kids?
Well,
That doesn't make sense.
well, Aurora. Okay. Well, first of all, Aurora will never end up at NYU,
True.
because she'll never. Can you see her in New York?
No,
Can you see her
no,
adjusting in New York? Like,
no. It's like, what's
but
a faraway school from?
but you know what I mean? Okay.
Yeah.
I think that was I think Dayton going to Flagstaff, ending up in Flagstaff, was a reason now to get their plan in motion. They wanted the money, they wanted the revenue from those houses, and this was the perfect way.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I think the other three wives were, I mean, even Robin, all of them seem very well adjusted
Mm-hmm.
in Las Vegas. They had the perfect layout. They
Yep.
weren't, they had, every single one of them had their own homes, but they had their own cul-de-sac. Nobody else was around them. Their houses were, it was just the four of them, kind of thing. So it was the
Yeah.
perfect setup for their lifestyle. The next,
Mm-hmm.
the best thing, the next best thing, um, to living in one house, which I don't even know if that's the next best thing.
Yeah.
If that's the better thing, because I don't think anybody really wanted that. Janelle pretended she wanted that, but I don't think she really wanted it. It wouldn't
Right.
have worked out. Had that have happened, she would have realized, oh no, I've made the biggest mistake. Can you imagine that? Can you
Yeah.
imagine living that? Oh my God. It works when you're little, when you have little kids, because the wives don't have time to worry about, oh, you know, he's,
In the next room.
he's to pay attention to really what Cody was doing, because they were so busy raising children and trying to figure out how to feed all these children, right?
Yeah.
There was no reason for any of them to leave Las Vegas. He's like, well, I feel that Las Vegas is not has become like a bad influence on our children. Which children? They're all
Yeah.
grown. Like,
Yeah.
which children?
Exactly. It's like they so they the one house idea, I remember seeing the plans, I was like, "That's actually a really pretty house." Like, I hope they built it, but then, when Christine was like, "No, I'm not living in one house." But then I thought, "Okay, so what happens when all the kids are out of the house? Like, how that just seems so awkward to it's like you have 4 other roommates, but you're all sleeping with the one. Like, it's weird, and they act like all the kids and the grandkids, like, that's gonna be their center home for every holiday, and it's like, why should they have to come home for every holiday or every event? Like, look at McKelty, she's always having to drive to Flagstaff for them to see her kids. It's like, why can't you guys ever travel to Utah? Or if he does, I don't think Robin ever goes, but
No,
so I'm
no.
like, what's the long run picture here?
I think the big house was also a way to get instead of tying their money up in their own properties, and like you're taking the family money and now money has to be tied up in Mary's rental. Sorry.
Yeah. Mhm.
In Mary's rental. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Instead of money having to be tied up in Mary's rental, because I don't think she ever bought. She never bought in Flagstaff, did she? She's always rented, right?
No. No, she rented like 3 times because there was that one house that supposedly had the neighbor that didn't want polygamists in their neighborhood or their house, and then she was at a different one that was, like, huge. It had, I think, an elevator and a waterfall, like, it
Yeah.
was huge. And
Yeah.
then and then now she's in, well, not anymore, but the last one she was in, so she's bounced around too.
I think it was a way to, okay, so not to waste money on Mary's rental, not to waste money on Christine's home or Janelle's home. It was a way to just build one home that, and then only Cody and Robin's name would have been on the deed, because they would have said, you know what, it makes more sense when getting a loan just to just, have us on here. And I guess the other wives always thought that they were just always going to be fair about it. Yeah, no problem. Who cares? Kind of thing.
Yeah.
I thought it was a way to just not use family resources to except to have it all into one house. So this way, when Cody and Robin went off on their own, because I think that was always the plan, but
Yeah.
because Christine and Janelle and Miriam now beat them to the punch, now they can play victim.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
I think that was the plan. I don't think Robin ever wanted to live with these women. Are you crazy? There's
No.
no way. Of course, for the camera, everything she does is to play to the cameras. It always.
Yeah.
Well, of course, I was behind it. She never wants to be, a point of contention with anybody. She never wants to be she never wants in front of the camera. She always wants to pretend like she's going along in order to get along or to keep peace within the family.
Right.
But
Yeah.
in the background, she's like, no, we need to do this because of this. This was a big plan. So when that didn't work out, this is just my opinion. So when then that didn't work out, they're like, how do we get control of this? Well, let's pretend that I don't want to buy a house because I don't want to waste family resources on a house. So I'm going to pretend that I only want to rent because my goal is to live with all these women on Coyote Pass so we can be on a swing porch together. So
Yeah.
an entire season was wasted where Robin was pretending you know, it was God's will that she bought a house. That was bull crap. Of
Yeah.
course, the whole plan was them to buy a house and use up everybody else's revenue from their Las Vegas homes. And
Mm-hmm.
she ended up getting this massive house.
And while poor Janelle is living in RVs and apartments and all that, and this is all after, because when she came into the family, she had, I think it was over $30,000 in debt, and her solution is, I'm not going to let this affect the family. And then come to find out, they all paid off her debt. Like, she didn't pay for anything, and she's never had a job with them other than that stupid, ugly jewelry business that
God,
made them no money.
no money at
So,
all. I can't. That
yeah.
stuff was so ugly. It was awful. It was
And it was like
so awful.
$60 for this ugly necklace and who's going to wear a necklace with hands and it says SW on it? Because everybody's sister wives, right? Like, who's going to buy this? And when Mary wanted to buy that house for her B&B, like, oh, but is it profitable? Is it like, they're thinking that's not going to bring in any money, but they thought jewelry would. Like,
Yeah, that was so sad and so unfair. They were, I mean, it was when it came to Robin's sister, the sister wife jewelry. Oh my God, that stuff was awful, and it was so chunky and clunky and ugly. Like the designs were so outdated, and the metals were so heavy. It was
yeah.
just like
At one point, they were giving away pieces. Like, if you bought a pair of the leggings, they'd include a piece of the jewelry because they were just trying to get rid of it. So it's like,
but then
Robin,
when
who are you to say?
yeah, but when it was so mean because when it came to Mary wanting to buy the Airbnb, the Airbnb, sorry, not the Airbnb. Listen to me, R&B. Um, the Airbnb, they're like, no, we don't really have the funds for that, but no, or we don't really, it has to be a consensus that we're all willing to dip our hand in the
Mhm.
pot and spend money on this venture. Well, you were okay with Robin.
Yeah,
It was so mean, but I think that the Airbnb does well.
it does, because she just had like a Halloween haunted house thing, and I remember looking, and it was like $50 for a ticket or something. But if you wanted to watch it online, you had to pay, I think, 20 or $25.
Right.
and and she sells out, like, when she does little things like that. Like, she's always got business going, and I think especially now that she's left Cody, people are more apt to be like, okay, we want to meet Mary, and she's always there. But
And she has a
yeah,
lot of support offline, so a lot of I'm sure that that Airbnb is always filled. Like every room is always filled because she's developed a lot of relationships through, like, she has very devoted customers with her LuLaRoe stuff,
Yeah. Which
right?
I'm surprised because LuLaRoe is so, I don't like it and it's so expensive, but she will do a sale and people are just throwing money at her. I think she's one of their top, I think she's in like the top 3 of the company as far as
Right.
sellers go. So
Right.
she's,
She's one of their top sellers. She does really well. Whether I think the stuff is just ugly.
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I've never looked at it. The only pieces I've ever seen was through the documentary. I can't even remember what it's called. What was the documentary? The LuLaRoe documentary.
Yeah, it was
What was the name of
oh
it?
gosh. I saw it too, but um Leaving LuLaRoe or something like that, or
No.
Lu Lula
It was
I,
something. It had the
yeah.
name or part of the name in there. You know which one I'm talking about. Aside from there,
Yeah.
there was like a couple of seasons where all the sister wives were wearing LuLaRoe crap, and I was like, that stuff is so
Yeah.
ugly. The patterns were very Michelle Duggarish, you know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like ew, ew.
Oh, it was Lula Rich.
That's it. That's it. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but people love that stuff. I don't know if do they really love the stuff, or they formed, I guess, like on anything on the internet, this they form this community.
Yeah. I think people feel a certain way if, like, I don't know if I'd call her a celebrity, but they probably feel cool being like, "Oh, Mary like packaged this and sent it directly to me and I got this from a famous person."
And she
I
read
think
my
that's
comment online, and she acknowledges
yeah.
me, and she says, and she remembers my name, and she remembers my kids' names, and she's always asking how Madison is, like pretending like it's somebody's, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
there's this sense of community. I think it's, yeah.
Yeah.
But how much of that junk can someone really own?
Well, what's so sad is like average women that try to sell it, I can't tell you how many groups I've seen online where there's because normally a pair of leggings is what, I don't even know, like $30 now. People are selling them for $2 just because they're like, I don't want this in my house anymore. Because I don't, last I heard, they don't get to choose their inventory. They just pay so much money and then they send you all your inventory and it's your job to sell it. So
But I'm sure somebody like Mary, who does so well for them, probably does get to choose her inventory,
yeah, probably. Yeah.
or is
She gets
able
to
to
go
say,
on
I don't want
trips.
this stuff. She's probably able to, I don't want this, like, offload this stuff onto other people. I don't want it. She's probably able to have a little bit more say in the inventory that she gets.
Oh yeah. For sure. Because there's no way, like even like when she's on the show and she'll have certain stuff on, I'm like, that's LuLaRoe. Like I can just tell right away like what it is. Because
It's
remember,
it's the same aesthetic,
yeah.
the leggings, or sometimes it's, and then the denim jacket, and
Yeah.
then the
Do you
little
remember
ankle
when
boots. And then
remember when they did the like 70s dance for McKelty's bridal shower and Mary Kim, she's like, yeah, I took a skirt and I made some bell bottoms out of them and the pattern was like 1970s or 60s looking. It's like, and you're trying to sell that to women in what was it, 2015 or something?
it's awful. Now, I will say, Mary, and she even says this on the second episode. I don't want to give too much away, but she does say, my hair has never looked better. Mary is looking better.
She is, for sure.
Her
I
hair
heard
is
she's
looking
doing
better.
like Invisalign and she's lost some weight. Like, I'm like, you know
Yeah.
what? She's never been my favorite, but I'm glad that she's okay. Like, she's not like, how a lot of women in polygamy, they can't leave because they don't have money or anywhere to go. So I'm glad that all of them are able to be like, see ya,
Yeah.
and they can leave.
Yeah,
But
if they weren't in a financial position to leave, they'd still be stuck there,
yeah,
kind of thing. Yeah, and Mary certainly, out of all of them, was in the best financial situation. But that was always the reason why they never really wanted Mary. They never really wanted any of them to go. They're like, okay,
No.
we do. I like, okay. Part of their plan was to not have an existing. Part of Robin and Cody's plan was to not for them to not have an existing physical relationship. I don't
Yeah.
think Robin really cared if he was at Christine's house all day, because she knew that the attraction wasn't there. Nothing was going on between them,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Mhm.
So they were able to succeed in that. The other part of their plan was to somehow keep all the other wives' money around.
Yep.
This is what they're
Mhm.
really upset about.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
This
for
this
sure.
is what they're really upset about.
Yeah. Because it's like, Robin, he's at your house all the time. You complain. Well, she blames it on the kids, but when he's not there, she freaks out. And it's like, well, now you got what you wanted. He's with you and your kids all the time, but now you're crying about it. Like, why and it's like, oh, because they're not putting they're not coming to you hat and cap, like offering you money.
Well, I don't even. I think she's happy. Also, she pretends like she's upset that he's there all the time. Now I have to deal with him. That's just an act for the camera, right? Because they need people to believe that
Mhm.
she was the one that really wanted all these marriages to work. She's the one that was pushing the good relationships with fellow sister wives, and it was the complete opposite. But in front of the camera, anything these two say in front of the camera, it's the complete opposite. Now, I
Yeah.
recently read somewhere. I can't remember. It was in a People magazine article or something like that. And I think she touched on it when they wrote their book, but they also
Mhm.
wrote their big book what couple seasons in. Like, imagine the books that they could write today.
Right.
Um, which I'm sure Christine will write a book. I'm
Yeah.
sure I mean all of them can write a book.
The
Um,
kids.
where it really, really bothered Robin the way the public perceived her. It really,
Yep.
really bothers her a lot, to the point
Yeah.
where she would go to the producers and she would say, no, um you can't edit scenes this way because it's making me look bad, kind of thing. It really, really
Mhm.
bothers her a lot.
Yeah.
So she, I think she always thought, if I just stick to, every time in confessionals, every time the camera is on me, I can cry. I can say, I really wanted this and I'm really pushing for me and my sister wives to have a relationship. I think she thought that was going to turn the tide for her with the public. Like, they were going to say, well, she's trying, she's nice. It's the other ones that are being resistant. I
They're
think
just
if she was
bullies.
just, I think if she was just a little bit more honest,
Yeah. Mhm.
and everything didn't appear so contrived with her, I think the public would have taken a better liking to her. Like, they could see her manipulative ways, and then they would hear her in the confessionals feign innocence, with everything, instead of being a little bit more honest. She never talked
Yeah.
about jealousy, where the other wives were, well, mostly Christine, was very raw and open when it came to jealousy. She said, yes, of course I'm jealous. Of course I'm jealous. Of course this bothers me.
Mhm. Yep. She never did, because she didn't need to be. And what I find weird too is, so she's now saying she feels like it's disrespectful to the other kids and the other wives to be happy with Cody. It's like, so all this time though that you've had him at your house and all this, you didn't find that disrespectful? And now for her to say, I need them to tell me face to face off camera that I can be happy with Cody, and she knows that's not going to happen.
No,
So
no,
she gets to be victim.
and Christine, exactly. She wants the public to feel bad for her. She wants everybody, like, she wants them to feel, oh, that's sad. She can't feel she can be herself, or she can really be fully happy with Cody without the approval of the other, or her former sister wives.
Yeah.
And then Christine's like, yeah, she keep waiting. That's never going to happen.
Yeah,
Like,
it's like, wait, I think she should be the one going to them and kind of, owning what she did and her role in it. Cause like Christine said, like, we have something going on and then we talk and I think we were fine, but apparently she's telling Cody she's still mad and we're bullying her. So, and then when Cody yelled at Christine that one day about the knife in the kidney, and he's saying, she's treated you like dirt from the very beginning. Notice Robin didn't say like, no, 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 it wasn't some, like she just sat there and let him say those things. So it's like, why
Right.
didn't she stick up for them and be like, no, I understand, like nothing. So she's let Cody think this whole time that they've been mean to her. Cause if you watch old seasons, it's like a running joke now where, that's this channel I follow on TikTok, and they'll show clips of Christine being really sweet, and it's like, oh, there she is being a bad sister wife again, because there's
Yeah.
so many examples of where she was like, it was hard in the beginning, but I made this gift for Solomon. She signed over her kids to Robin when they were going to go to that protest in Utah at the Capitol.
Right.
It's like, why would she sign over her kids to her if she didn't see her as a sister wife or anything like that? So I'm just like, and then they stayed quiet for a lot of it. Like when they had their honeymoon and she came in, they bit their tongue. Other than the dress thing, she got upset. But other than that, I'd say they were pretty welcoming. So I'm
Well,
like,
yeah,
where in
I
there
heard
was she?
during I do remember during the honeymoon. Remember the three of them went on a camping trip while they were. Do you remember they were on a
Oh
camp? I
yeah,
think the three of them, and I think each and every one of them expressed their.
that's right. They did.
They weren't very pleased. They're like, "Well, I didn't even, I didn't get a, you know,
Yep.
11-day honeymoon," and the other one's like, "I didn't get a honeymoon at all."
It,
you
did
know,
Mary even get a honeymoon? Because I know she
I
got a
think
wedding,
I
but
think he said, I think from what I remember, it was like we went to Niagara Falls for the weekend or something like.
oh
Remember, it was something like that.
yeah. And even then, it would make more sense, I guess, back then because they didn't have a bunch of kids at home to take care of. So it's like, you want to go travel after you're married? Like, go for it. But so the three wives get like nothing. Robin comes in and they've got what, 15 kids at this point, and like, oh, we're going to take off for 11 days. And then I'm like, and how does he afford it? Because that's always been my thing too is, they say they were on welfare for certain things. But I'm like, how is he affording a two-seater sports car? Just like he likes fancy stuff. So I'm like,
Because
how
he
do they afford that?
because he worked and he was able to spend all his money on anything he wanted. But
Yeah.
all the other wives, they were working, maybe not Christine, but Mary and Janelle were both working. Christine was able to get state welfare, I guess, because she was a stay-at-home mom of 6 children or 5 children at the time,
Yeah.
you know. And I think it was all the mother's responsibility to take care of the household stuff. And Cody did have a job when they first started. He
Hmm.
was a salesman or something like that. So
Yeah.
he did have a job, but I think he was able to just do whatever he wanted with his money, which is exactly what he did, which is exactly why they never had, like, they were stretched very thin when it came to money, which going
Yeah.
back to originally what we were talking about with, when Robin and her 3 children already, came into the family, like, it was always about what with Robin, it was like how they made me feel when I came into the family. I never felt welcomed. My children have never felt welcome from the get-go. And it was like, you're coming into, I never felt I was part, like, as close with my sister wives as they were with one another. Of course you're not going to be. You're coming
Yeah.
into a family with already established relationships, established, dynamics. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that would be, it's that would be like a that's with any relationship. Like, imagine
Yeah.
starting a new job where you have colleagues that you know have been working together for years. Do you know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yes.
It's the same thing, and eventually in a year or two you're going to be just as comfortable there, with those colleagues, and you're going to
Yeah.
feel like you all have been friends or have known one another for years. But it's going to take a while for you to feel, it's not that they don't like you. It's just like, of course,
Yeah.
the relationships aren't going to be the same, but nope, right off the hop, she was a victim. Her children were a victim. And I think she played, every time Cody was at her house, she was crying, and she was maybe fabricating things or misrepresenting a situation. I saw
Yeah.
Christine today and she didn't even wave hi to me, kind of thing. What I'm
Yeah.
saying? Always to be the victim, and then always, crying and saying, I've been trying. So in Cody's mind, Robin's the only one who's ever tried to be a good sister wives, and all you guys suck.
Exactly. And at the time too, Christine was going through postpartum, so she was probably feeling all of that on top of probably like, he's off with this younger, skinnier, pretty girl, and I'm, because like after we give birth, we feel gross probably about ourselves for a
Yes.
little bit. So it's like she had to deal with all that on top of her postpartum. So she probably was depressed.
Yep.
I know Mary wanted Robin in, but I don't think she thought it would go down the way it did and have Cody be like all goo goo gaga over her.
I always
But
thought Mary wanted Robin in because she wanted an ally, because
oh, for sure.
Janelle and Christine were close. They had a lot of problems with Cody. I thought
Hmm.
I always thought that she wanted another wife, like she wanted to throw a wrench into things. She wanted to, but
Hmm.
also but then still feel in control because she was the first and legal wife.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. I was like, why did you invite this? I mean, if you are already having problems, they're saying like our problems, like Mary's saying that things weren't right between them even before Robin came into the picture. And I was like, then why would you bring another wife? Exactly.
Yeah.
A younger, skinnier, like a shinier new toy into the mix. How did you
Yeah.
think that was going to help things?
No, it didn't at all. And it's like, I wonder, like, if Mary, I don't think she'd ever admit it, but I wonder if she has regrets about, I don't think she regrets polygamy as a whole, but I wonder if she regrets bringing in Robin.
She's
And
got to. I can't
yeah,
imagine she doesn't. I
yeah.
can't imagine she doesn't. I also think that it's possible that Christine and Janelle resent the hell out of her. I shouldn't say that, but you
Hmm.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
For bringing, certainly Christine probably did. I don't think Christine could care less now, but
Yeah.
certainly for many years saying, oh my God, I was finally starting to have a really good relationship with Cody. And then you bring this woman into our lives. And
Yeah.
I wonder if it was, maybe that was it. They were saying Christine was it's really funny because Cody says that he never loved Christine, which I think is just a bunch of
Yeah.
BS.
Yeah.
But then they've all talked about how Christine was the favorite wife up until Robin coming in. So I wonder
Hmm.
if Mary just hated that so much. And it was like, you just wait and see what I'm going to do to this now. Like, basically, she
Hmm.
hated seeing that. And she thought, well, if I bring a new wife in and it's going to shake things up, and then I don't know.
Yeah.
I wish all of them would just sit down and be honest and say, yes, this is what I did. And this is why I did it.
But that's why I wish they would all, because they used to do the tell alls all in one room and then they haven't the last few years. So I really wish they would do more face to face stuff. And then that way, because it's got to be frustrating, like when they're watching back a scene, then they say their opinion. And then it's like, well, wouldn't you rather say that to their face or ask them, in person? Because Cody is able to talk all this crap about them because they're not in the room with. I don't know if he would say a lot of that to their face. I
No,
mean,
he
maybe
wouldn't.
he
Of course
would.
he wouldn't. And when they were all on the same couch, they all had the same agenda. They wanted to sell this, this whole polygamy works,
Yeah.
this works, because I think they felt that they didn't have a show. Well, we don't have a show if we can't sell this product to the public. But what
Yeah.
they didn't realize, now they're quickly realizing, certainly Mary, Janelle, and Christina are realizing, we have a show when we're being honest.
Yep.
Because
They've had the
remember,
highest
they were almost
views.
canceled. Remember, they
Yeah.
were almost canceled because
Yep.
the show, like, they're just, they lost a lot of public interest. Every season was same old, same old. How many more parties can we have? They were
Yeah.
just coming up with the same kind of parties. Every season was the same. It was boring.
I think the only episodes that got a lot of attention were the weddings. And then when they moved to Flagstaff, it was just constantly like, oh, the property this. I don't want to live in the trees. Who wants to live in the trees? Like it was just constantly the
Right.
same thing over and over. And now that they're actually being real, they've said that this is the highest ratings that they've had since the very beginning. Because in the very beginning, it was so over the top. Like, yeah, people say, "Don't you get jealous?" Oh no, we want them to love each other. Like, they better be having sex together. Like, it's hard. We'll admit that, but we love this. We would do it over and over again. It was so over the top, and then now they're like, ugh, I hate polygamy.
Yeah, it was just, yeah. I think the pandemic was an eye opener. I mean, listen, the pandemic was an eye opener for a lot of people. I think.
Yeah.
I think across the world, people
Yeah.
are like, okay, this is crazy, and I think people learned to not to let go of toxic people in their lives.
Right. Yep.
Just I think the pandemic was an eye opener for a lot of people. It was a horrible thing, but I think it was a good thing for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Certainly for them, it was like being like Christine always says, when I realized it was done between Cody and I is when he didn't come to Isabel's surgery. I thought,
Yeah.
how am I going to do this alone? And when she goes, when I was out there and I did it for 5 weeks on my own, I think
Mhm.
she had to quarantine by herself, or the two of them had a quarantine before they were able to jump on a plane and go to wherever, Boston. I think they're in Boston.
Um,
The surgery in
I think
Boston originally.
I think New Jersey.
Oh yes, New Jersey. And they obviously had to, we had to be super careful, and Isabel and I couldn't go anywhere because we had to make sure we were able to get on that plane to New Jersey, and then we were in New Jersey for, I think, or a couple weeks, certainly a couple weeks, and then from there they went to Utah,
It was
right?
some relative's house, I think, but I don't remember where.
Yeah, for
But
a couple of weeks,
yeah.
and then she goes, and then I realized I don't need him. I don't
Yep.
need him, and that's when she realized I've always been independent. I'm good. I can do this on my own, and that's when she was done.
Yeah. And on
Um,
top of that, it was probably like, having to see her kids crying and being like, he says he can't put Robin's family in jeopardy. And she's like, well, I'm his family too. Like, because even when they came back, he didn't even stop by to like give her medicine or drop off soup. Like, he didn't help at all. And he's just like, well, I just need her to get better quicker so I can feel better about not going. And it's like, how dare you like act like this was all COVID related? It's like you're mad at Christine, so you're taking it out on all of her kids. That's all it was. Because he could have gone, he could have worn a mask, he could have tested, he could have made it work. And he's just like, no, let's make you be in horrible pain for another 6 months or a year, whatever it was. It's like, how can you look at your daughter and see her in pain and tell her to wait because you just don't feel comfortable? And then to say, oh, should we just send her by herself? I would have lost it if I was Christine. I don't know how
I think
she.
she kind of did. I think she kind
Yeah.
of did, but then that's when she's like, okay, we're done here. We're going inside now. That's when
Yeah.
and I don't know if it was the same episode or the same scene where he was asking her if she could put off the surgery maybe till the following year, when the pandemic, well, we all believe the pandemic would be over. Yeah, right. And this
Yeah.
was, now keep in mind, this was the summer of 2020.
Right.
I can't believe. And she's like, I can't live in this kind of pain anymore. Like,
Yeah.
and that's when Christine's like, okay, well, have a good day. We're going back inside now, kind of
Yeah.
thing. I think that's when she realized, oh my God, this
Yeah.
man is horrible. I don't want to be married to this man anymore. He's
Yeah. Because
horrible.
I probably would have been like, Isabel, honey, go inside and put on some loud music or something. And he and I would have had words, maybe more than that, because and she's not even my kid. And I watched it and my jaw just fell to the floor. Like,
My
did
heart
he
broke for
seriously
that
just
girl.
suggest that? Like,
My
what?
heart broke for her. It was horrible. And then she had to like hustle selling LuLaRoe.
She
And I don't
did.
to pay. She needed 50. It was gonna because she didn't have private insurance.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yep.
she needed $50,000 for the cert, or maybe more. I think she had
Yeah.
half. She was
Yeah.
like, she was she was trying to get. She was trying to raise another $50,000. But when Dayton had his accident, it put
Mm-hmm.
Cody and Robin in the hole an X amount of money, and it was like, you're willing
Mm-hmm.
to pay for Dayton's, and listen, he should pay for Dayton's. He's adopted them. That's just as much
Yeah.
his kid now. You know what I'm saying? But if you're
Yeah.
willing to do it, like, you have to be able to do that for all your children.
Right. And I'm sure it was hard on Dayton to have his eye like that, but I've, even when my back just hurts a little bit, I'm like miserable. So I couldn't imagine my spine being 50% curved or whatever it was. And, you know, she said she couldn't sleep and just, I could not imagine, going through it myself, but let alone my daughter. And
Yeah.
he's just like, you can hold off. Like, and then I remember in Vegas, Christine wanted her to do the surgery sooner and he didn't want to. And he said, oh, she can deal with low self-esteem for a few years. It won't hurt her. Cause he thought it was
Terrible.
all about the back brace and her getting teased. And it's like, no, she's in pain. Even the brace itself, she said it was painful because it dug into her and she, you can't move
Right.
the way you want. So,
Yeah, it was terrible.
and then I'm sure they probably thought the same thing, like, well, wait a minute, Dayton got hurt and he got surgery, but nobody else got to. Like, I would feel a certain way. And when Robin said, like, those kids were hard on her kids, I wonder, were they just being like siblings or what? Because it's like, Robin, wouldn't you rather them fight with them and pick on them like siblings do rather than have them walk into a room and act like they're not there or just
No, she needs to her goal is to segregate her children as much as possible from the other children, because she has been feeding them for God knows how many years that they
Mhm.
don't like you. We're
Yeah.
the problem in their eyes. You'll never get accepted, because she
Mhm.
doesn't want them to form close relationships with their children, because if they did that, and then it would open their eyes to a lot of stuff, saying she's not bad like my mother has made her out to be.
Yes, exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
this is
And
her way of controlling her kids, keeping them confined to her home and to her way,
mhm.
it, it's
And
it's so manipulative. She's an awful person. She's just awful, Robin.
I've always thought that cuz Christine and Janelle and Mary, they've always had their independence about him. And I've always thought maybe Robin would think like, "Oh, if Christine and Janelle took the girls for a day or something and they'd be like, "Wow, like I want to do what
She's
you
really
do."
fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like I don't
she's really, yeah, exactly. But
cuz
it was always so weird. Like I remember the first year of the pandemic. Remember Christmas? They're like, why don't they want to spend? Why are they going to Utah? Why don't they want to come here and spend Christmas with us? And I thought that's really. I'm talking about Brianna. I'm
yeah.
talking about the older girls, Brianna and Aurora. Dayton was there, but he wasn't really saying much. But it
Yeah.
was like, how selfish of them now. Like, they've now
Mhm.
become Robin, because Robin
Yeah.
has, oh my God. uh it's like, okay, so you're saying that in order to make you feel better and you feel more wanted and included, they should not spend these women should not go spend time with their biological children and their grandchildren, and
Mhm.
not see their children,
Mhm.
and just spend Christmas with you. Like, how do they not realize? I mean, if I was in that situation, I like to think I'm reasonable to some degree.
Right.
To some degree. If I was in that situation and my sister wife said to me, and now that the kids are older and they're now dispersed in different states, and my sister wife said to me, I don't have sister wives, people, just making that clear. This is a hypothetical. But if, one of them came to me and says, I am going to, I don't know, California, because that's where all my kids are pretty much, or that's where everybody's going to, kind of get together, it would be like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But
Because, yeah,
yeah,
like that always bothered me too, because she sits them down and says, well, they're not willing to follow the rules, so they're not going to be with us this Thanksgiving, whatever it was. And I thought, you little, like, you could easily say, so as you guys know, Christine's got kids in Utah, Madison's in North Carolina, I think Hunter's on East Coast too. Instead of just saying, so this is the plan for the holiday, they're going to go with their kids, she had to make it seem like they just deliberately said, we want nothing to do with you peasant children or whatever you are. And she's sitting there crying, and then she says, well, I'm not going to lie to her. Like, well, you are lying to her,
except you
because that's
are
not.
lying to them. She brainwashes her children. But because to me, it's so weird, because even, let's just say that was the case. Let's just say they really didn't like the children. They really didn't want anything to do with them. A mother who loves her children does the opposite. She
Yeah.
will make excuses. Like, even like, let's just say one of them said, I don't want to come to your house because I can't stand your kids. I can't stand you and your kids. What a real mother does is she doesn't run home and tell her kids that, you know?
Yeah.
She comes home and says, "Oh, Christine can't come," and then lies and makes up a bullshit excuse why Christine and her kids can't be there, just to not upset her own children. You don't come home and say, "I would
Hmm.
never," like, I would. If somebody said something horrible about my either one of my kids, I'm not going to come home and tell them. Not that
Exactly.
they would, but you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to come home and
Yeah.
tell them, guess what so and so's kid said about you. I heard the neighbor's kid. I heard this. I'm not going to say that to my daughter or my son to hurt them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it's like she's probably thinking in her mind, like, oh, I'm, dividing the family like I want. But it's like, no, you're making those kids feel like their family doesn't love them and never did. So you're causing all this damage and either don't care or don't see it. And then now I remember Rory was like, so they just don't care, like, to hell with us. Like, and it's like, Robin, that's not what it is. I mean, yeah, they did say the rules were outrageous, but it's like, no, that's just the way of life. Like, when the kids grow up and move on, or like there's in-laws, like, it happens. Like, I don't live near my family, and I know many people don't. So it's like, when you come to holidays, it's like, okay, who's going where? That's normal for every family. But Robin's like, oh, so they're just going to go off and do their own thing. Like, what about our family? It's like, well, Robin, are are you thinking all of your kids are going to live in Flagstaff forever? What if they don't want to?
It becomes
So,
difficult. I mean, like, I know with, okay, the kids are older now, but I know, and things have shifted now, and sometimes there's somebody missing. Like, just with Christmas, I go to I go to my in-laws on Christmas Eve. That's what I've always done. Also, they're Italian, so they do this, the Feast of Seven Fishes on Christmas
yeah,
Eve. Christmas Eve is a big thing. I ain't missing that crap. That's for
yeah,
sure. Like, but anyways, Christmas Eve is almost like a bigger deal to them.
yeah,
So it's always, and why? It's because come Christmas Day, during the day, my sister-in-laws are with their families, right? Okay,
yeah,
okay, so my husband has two brothers, so it's the three brothers, and then the three wives or sister-in-laws. I was going to say sister wives.
sister wives.
Okay, we all go to my in-laws. So my three, my in-laws are there too. My sister and brother-in-laws are there too. And then I go and spend the Christmas Day with my family, and then my other sister-in-law goes spends it with her family, and then the other one with her family, right? But as the kids are now getting older, all our children are 16 and over. The youngest are 16. A lot of like they fall between 16 and 25, like 24 now, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Eventually they're going to get married and have children of their own. And and it's like, well, we can come, but our kids can't come because she's now at her in-laws kind of thing. That's going to change.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But
Yep.
because we've done now, my sisters now have to do the same. Come Christmas Eve, I'm at my in-laws, but they're also at their in-laws in order for us to be together on Christmas Day, right? It's
Yeah.
like everybody has to kind of work together, and you can't change that from year to year. It has to change. It has to stay that way, because if anybody deviates from that plan, it ruins everybody else's plans, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Like my mother
Yeah.
can't, my mother-in-law can't turn around and say, I'm doing Christmas lunch. And it's like, no, you can't do that. My mom does Christmas lunch. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And because
Yeah.
my mom is doing Christmas lunch, her mother does Christmas lunch, and her mother does Christmas lunch. You can't just turn around and do that now, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And so that's why I'm like, okay, did Robin just do that to cause whatever? Or does she really believe that her house would be the forever home for any kind of event? And watching the episodes, whenever they would have Christmas or whatever at Robin's house, I'm like, they look so bored. They're sitting around, they have some food, and then everybody's on their phone or on the couch. Whereas when they did the B&B or whatever with the other kids, they're outside playing in the snow and doing all that kind of thing, like in the kitchen. And so I'm like, I wouldn't want to spend my holiday there either. They just seem so
They,
bored.
well, not only bored, they looked uncomfortable. It's a house clearly that they were not accustomed, they didn't spend a lot of time in. So
No.
it's like you're going into a stranger's home. The kids are afraid to do anything because they might break something, kind of thing. Whereas the other wives, I think going into the other wives' homes, you felt like you were at home yourself.
Yeah.
With Robin's house, you felt you were at Robin's house.
Yeah. It's like she's like the whatchamacallit, like I think she's even said though, like I'm like the stepmom. It's like, well, you're not. I don't remember her ever being like warm and fuzzy with them other than McKelty.
Other than
Or
McKelty, which is really, really weird. I think she found the one child that was the rebellious one, and I think she was able to prey on that kind of
mhm.
thing. those
Yeah.
those she was able to she was easy to manipulate, because when you're rebellious like that, you're like, I hate, of course my parents were bad, kind of thing, because you just naturally don't like your parents, when you're so I think
Yeah.
she was able to take advantage of that. But I've always felt uncomfortable when I watched functions like they were, or maybe there for like Solomon's birthday or something like that. I felt uncomfortable as a viewer watching. Like I felt like I was afraid to watch because I might break something in Robin's house just by watching. She struck me
Yeah.
as the type of person that just watched everything. She was like, no, 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 don't touch that. Kind of thing.
Yeah.
No, we don't use that room, kind of thing. You know what? Like, it's,
Well, everything in her house is expensive. Like she's got all the figurines, the art pieces. Um,
but
it
it's so
just,
ugly.
yeah,
It's
it's like a staged home, and
but it's
not one that you would be
it's
like, this is cozy in here. Let's kick our shoes off and relax. Like,
but it's not
no.
even nicely staged. It's so dated. And that awful brown. Everything was brown and burnt orange. Brown and burnt orange. Ew. It's so
Yeah.
dated, all of her stuff. And it was like, girl, if you've got it, spend it. But if you're gonna spend it, at least spend it well. What
Yeah.
I'm saying? It just
And even
bothers me.
her fashion sense is weird too, because she's, remember back in the day,
Awful.
she would do the long sleeves and then a weird tank top thingy. And then as she, like, I've never seen her like in shorts and a t-shirt. Just like, there was an episode I watched recently where she's like weed eating or whatever, something outside, but she's got like jeans and a blouse on and her hair's curly. I'm like, do you ever just lounge? Or
I don't think anybody's ever told her that you have to brush out the curls. But
yes, that too.
she's got those Little House on the Prairie, Laura. And what was the girl on Little House on the Prairie? The neighbor, the really crappy kid, the blonde one,
Yeah.
Nellie Olson. those curls, and it's like, girl, you have to brush the curls out, you know.
Yeah. Well, she taught Cody how to scrunch his hair, so I wonder if she puts like a scrunch spray or something in her hair, and that's what makes her hair do that. But yeah, it's like we've seen Christine and Janelle and Mary without makeup, and they're in like comfortable stuff. But Robin, she's always got to look somewhat put together. I don't know if it's the camera or if that's just her, and maybe her, because remember her mom told her like don't scream in childbirth, like just look put together and don't do that. So I wonder if maybe that's how she's been all her life.
And then she was
But
making those weird, like, oh my God, it was so, oh, first of all, why were we watching you giving you birth? And why was your stepfather right there watching you?
yeah,
And he was right there at the head of the bed. And it's like, oh, it
yeah,
was so weird. It was so uncomfortable. But she was making those weird noises. She was like, she sounded,
there was somebody that said she sounds like me after Taco Bell not giving birth.
she sounded like a dying kitten or something like that. Where she's like,
Yeah, and then you have
I'm like, this
Madison
is,
who's like screaming at the top of her lungs. Like, that's what it's supposed to sound like. But Robin's just like, like just so weird. And
it
then
was so weird.
and even Madison, like, why did she have all the adults in there? And even I wouldn't want that many people. I don't know. There's just some things I don't want my dad to see, and that's me trying to give birth in a bathtub is one of them. But
Yeah. It's
I guess
no.
to each their own, but that just felt so odd to me. I'd be like, I wouldn't want the cameras in there. I would just want my husband and, maybe that's it. And the midwife, but no, everybody get the F out.
It's weird. It was so weird. It was, I don't know. Listen, I think the pandemic was a perfect opportunity for them. They're like, now we can make an excuse why I don't need to go to their houses, why I can't go to their houses. It was, they probably loved the idea of the pandemic. It's like, so now that's a perfect excuse why I don't have to go spend 3 nights at Christine's house this week, or
Yeah.
2 nights at Janelle's. But I don't, so, and I think they were using the rules as an excuse because every time they would
Hmm.
afterwards just move the goalposts and move the goalposts. And it was always, if it was not the COVID rules, it was like Gabriel's being a jerk.
Yeah. And even
You know?
Janelle it was Janelle that was like, okay, like you had COVID, we went through the whole ordeal, and now you still don't want to get together. Like you're just going to keep making excuses to
Well,
not get together.
that's the whole thing. It was never, so I think that, and I think Christine and Janelle knew that off the hop.
Yeah.
Mary just didn't care because she knew, pandemic or not, he's still not coming to my house. At least she was very honest about that. But I think Janelle and Christine knew that it wasn't about the pandemic. They're just using the pandemic as an excuse. So listen, could they have been a little bit more, they're like, oh, I'm still going to do whatever I want, when the pandemic, could they have been, do I think that they should have traveled as much as they did? No, but whatever. I think it's because, but who cares? Well, it's not who
Yeah.
cares, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But I think Janelle and Christine realized very early on that they were just using these COVID rules as an excuse, even if they abided by every single rule and then some, they would have just found a new excuse to
Yeah.
not
Because,
get together, for him to not be at their homes, for him to not spend, because another thing with Robin is like, I want him to only care about my kids. I don't want him to have, she wants to ruin their other relationships with the other children. Because it has to just be about her children. So she has to not just destroy the relationships with the other wives. She has to destroy those relationships that he has with his children, because it has to only be about his children, about her children. But anyways, I think Christine and Janelle knew from the get-go that it wasn't really about the rules, which is why they said, and then I'm not going to follow them, because isn't
yeah.
really about the rules. So
Well,
I'm not going to
did you
sit there and
notice?
follow them.
Did you
Hey,
notice?
hey, hey,
Oh,
just want to jump in real quick before I jump back down.
oh,
I just want to point out that there's been some really great comments in the chat. Not, of course from me or, Mrs. Cassandra, and because we don't watch the show, but like Catherine has had some really great comments that she's put up in the chat. So just want to um, kind of direct your attention to that, just so you
Oh,
see what they're saying, and maybe talk about that a little bit too. And if you guys want to schedule a part two, it looks like you could absolutely fill up a whole other show with that.
yeah,
So
we will. Sorry.
oh
I
no,
don't. I try not to read the comments because I always, you guys know, I always, when I start doing different multiple things, I always end up eating myself. You know
yeah,
that, so I try not
yeah,
to. But
yeah.
yeah,
Well, we decided, Mrs. Cassandra and I decided next time maybe we need somebody to stay up on panel to grab those comments for you guys. So
I'm sorry.
anyway,
I'm
no,
sorry.
that's okay. That's okay. This time, um, I'm going to ask you to say sorry so many times, because, when you guys say sorry, it sounds so much better than we do. Anyway, that's it.
Okay,
Um,
Carly, can you read the comments?
yes, I wasn't even like looking down.
I apologize, everybody. Oh my God, when I talk about Sister Wives, it's just like,
Yeah, you kind of forget where you are at sometimes.
I
um,
apologize.
yeah, because I forgot what. See, like I don't even remember what we are talking about.
Oh,
But
we were just
yeah,
talking about, they were just using it wouldn't have mattered. They just would have
yeah.
moved the goalpost anyways. Sorry, what did Catherine say?
She said all that sus in Robin's house is now personal property, and if the OG3 ever sue them, it's personal property and can't be added on the settlement.
I don't think anybody wants it.
I was gonna say, like, do they they said it had like plague and the groundhogs or something, and I don't even know if they can build on it because it's got so much like I think I'm not totally familiar with how it works, but I've heard that the way Coyote Pass is, I don't want to say designed, but the way it is, like they wouldn't be able to build like full functioning homes, and they'd have to cut down trees, and like it's in that pond. I'm like, I don't even want to know what's in that, but they're all talking about like swimming in it and that being like the gathering place, and I'm like, oh, and I don't know if it's because the kids were younger, but when they moved to Vegas, it seemed like they were so quick to be like, okay, we have to find a place to build homes. We have to get everybody together. And then they get out to Flagstaff, and Janelle's having to be like, okay, we're going to lose this land that we put probably close to $1 million on, and you're just going to let it sit there. And then I don't know how she felt about I wish they would have asked her about the mountain bikes, because I think in total that would have been a few $1,000s. And I'd be like, I'm living in a college town apartment, and here you are buying rings, buying dirt bikes, you know, Robin's shopping habit. $20,000 for one painting. Oh my gosh.
Wait, what is this $20,000 for one painting? What painting? What does she have? Like, what does she have? A Monet in her home? I'm not sure what is happening. Like, what painting did she pay 20,000? I just can't believe that she spent $20,000 on a painting.
Yeah, and I think people were saying that McKelty, on her Patreon, I think she said that her dad looks at art as an investment. So I'm like, are they using art to like stash away money in case things go south one day?
I can't
'Cause-
believe that it's real. Whatever they're buying, I can't believe it's not just a print of something. I just can't.
yeah,
I don't
because
see them having the. Okay, how do I say this? They don't have the palate or the knowledge or
the taste.
the taste, the I don't know, for like, I don't know. Like, could it just be a knockoff of like a Rondensky or something like that, or like, no, I'm saying that wrong. I think I'm saying that, but you know what I mean, of a knockoff of
Yeah,
something, and then people just assume it's real, but it's like, no, that's not real, because you know how much money that would cost. Kandinsky, not a Rendinsky, sorry. Like a knockoff of something. Like, I can't
yeah,
imagine that they would spend $20,000 on a painting. Is
Yeah.
somebody just seeing this painting and just assuming that it's real as opposed to just a knockoff?
Yeah, or like a scan of it or
Yeah,
because I'm like, okay, I don't even wanna know what their mortgage is, and it's like, I don't that's another thing I wonder too. How long have, Christine and Janelle and Mary been, like, putting money into the family account or whatever it is? Because Robin hasn't worked, like, the entire time. So, I don't know what Cody does for a living. I've heard he, sells firearms or something, but it's like, I don't think he makes enough to live that way. And remember, they were gonna cancel the show, and then Cody said, "Well, if you keep it going, I'll take a pay cut." So, I don't know how
well,
much they or
they did take a pay cut. Okay, Catherine is saying Robin has a crystal in her hall that she paid $7,000 for. Why?
What?
Why?
Oh my gosh.
She
Like,
just that one ugly picture is $20,000. But what the pic on the wall at Thanksgiving? So was that? I've got to go back and watch it. So was that from this season?
I think so.
Okay, I got to go back and watch that painting.
Yeah,
I
me
watched that
too.
season to look at that painting. Oh,
I
Jesus.
remember seeing videos floating that remember when the kids came upstairs on Christmas morning and behind them, I guess there's paintings on the wall and there was people like screenshotting it and saying like, "Oh, if this is correct, these are a certain artist and they go for this much money." So, and then because you know how Robin rarely lets them film inside the house, the popular rumor is, well, she's a shopaholic and has boxes everywhere and all this stuff, and she doesn't want people seeing it. Like she's a hoarder.
But what is she buying? Oh, I've heard that, and I've also seen pictures of the boxes, like
Yeah.
when the door's kind of like slightly open. She's a shopaholic, but I also don't understand what is she buying because when she has had, it doesn't look like her furniture is changing. She has the same furniture, and it's just awful. So, what is she exactly? Is she buying figurines? That's stupid.
Yeah. Because
She also
those,
her wardrobe doesn't change very much. She actually recycles. Like if you look at even her blouses are so awful. When you look at her blouses that she's wearing this year, she's wearing all those same blouses, yes, like last season or even the season
yeah, like the
before.
weird patterns and well, because I don't remember where I heard it from, but allegedly the reason why she shopped so much at Victoria's Secret was because she said they're the only place that makes jeans that fit her right because of her. And I'm like, first of all, since when does Victoria's Secret sell jeans? I did not know that. And second of all, it's like of all the millions of stores in the world, you can't find another store that fits you at a reasonable price. Or it'd probably be even cheaper to invest in like custom making. I don't know, but
But also she
like
wears the
I
same
don't buy
jeans.
that.
It doesn't make any sense because she wears the same jeans, even for the first 5 seasons. Remember, and they were so ugly because they reminded me of these jeans from the 80s. They were,
Yeah.
do you remember they had that white seam going down the front, the side? Do you
Yeah, and
remember?
weren't they always bell bottoms?
They were kind of like flary, but they were just these ugly jeans. They were like a dark wash, but there was like a white or maybe a silver stripe, like the stitching was very predominant.
Yeah.
And she wore those jeans all the time. You saw them on every single confessional, or when they would do the confessionals on the couch every like for like 5 seasons straight. So it's like I don't think she's spending money on herself. Is she spending money on the kids? Like I
I
don't
don't think
know.
so.
Like when I look at like the kids, I don't find them dressed well. They're not dressed badly, but you know what I'm saying. It's not like
Yeah.
you look at them and they're like sitting in Lululemon and Aritzia and Zara, like all that stuff that kids are wearing, and stuff like that. They don't like.
Yeah.
It looks like more that like they're wearing Target stuff, which is fine.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like, where
Yeah,
is
and
she spending this money? How many figurines can you possibly buy? That's a lot of
yeah,
money
and
to
then
be spending on figurines. So what is it that she's? I
when I
don't
keep
know.
thinking to myself too, like, are they not putting away for like college or just,
Buys
things?
paintings, crystals, figurines, and jewelry.
Yeah. I'm like, what about just basic needs? I'm like, do the kids, I don't know. It's so weird because okay, so I think Dayton he's probably what, 23-ish. I think Aurora is 21, 20, and Aurora, she's over 18 because she's been out of high school for a couple years. So I'm like, how are they affording their college? And then on top of that, what about Isabel's college? Gwendolyn, did they help pay for her wedding? Did they help pay for Logan's? Like, I don't know. It seems like they put, and then I'm like, okay, she complains about the kids not coming home for Christmas. So I'm like, why don't they pay for, like, the kids to fly out if they can't afford it? Or why don't they travel to see, or let's go spend Christmas in, some people like go somewhere like where there's snow or tropical. So I'm like, it could be putting so much of that money into the whole family, but Cody is letting her, because remember when Christine was saying, well, it'd be nice to have a vacation. He said, well, save your grocery money. So like,
But
she
I don't
has
even
to
see
save
them go
grocery
on
money, but
vacation. I don't even see
yeah.
them, like, have they even at least albeit through their LuLaRoe or whatever. What's that thing that they need pumpkin art? The
The
ugly
LuLaRoe?
matching jackass rings cost 17 jack. The ugly matching jackass rings cost
Yeah.
$17,000. Um, uh, what what is it that Plexus?
Yes.
Albeit they go like on these cruises that they probably go to different islands and stuff like that. I don't think
Hmm.
Cody and Robin have even left the United States. Like,
No.
where are these, like, why are they spending the money on family vacations, experiences? Catherine is saying that she buys some of the art was by a Russian surrealist artist. I don't think that Robin could even locate Russia on a map. So to me, that's just weird. Do you know what I'm saying? It's just weird
Yeah.
to me. I just don't. I could be wrong. I just don't. I can hook them up with some pumpkin art for a lot less.
Well, that's another thing. I wonder if they don't, well, no, because they traveled like early on, like they went to Alaska. I think they went to Hawaii. They went to uh but they traveled more. So because I was thinking to myself, wait, do they just not want Robin's kids to see the outside world? But they've seen
Yes,
it
they
enough.
probably.
But
Yeah, but they were also young. But also, they only did that because, remember, TLC picks up the check for that stuff,
yeah.
right?
Yeah,
That's
because
the
when
only
they're like,
reason they
"Oh,
do
we
that.
got a 20-bedroom house," and then they're like, when they go out to eat, I'm like, I don't even want to know what that check was, because man, that
I don't
had
know.
to be what,
But you know
30 of
what? You
them.
have to you have to watch the. Oh, okay. So maybe Grace is right. Maybe we should do a part two because there's so much, and,
They,
and she needs to sit up here with us and read the chat. Worse, I
they
I apologize. I'm so sorry for that.
no, you're
It's
fine.
just,
I just wasn't even in my own, like I'm chatting with a friend, not even looking down.
yeah. When I know it's I'm sorry. It's just when I get started about the sister wives or Muzz. I can talk forever, but okay, so watch the second episode, and then we need to do a part two because there's so much to talk about
Yeah,
we haven't talked
and
about.
Christine, because I think there's a couple more episode, and then there's Christine's wedding, so we'll have a lot to
So
cover.
are they
Yeah.
going to do this every week? Are they? And I was also watching a YouTuber, some reality tea. I can't remember. She's really good. She covers the sister wives a lot. And she was like, I wonder if they're seeing all the success that the YouTubers are having doing commentary on episodes and the
Yeah,
success that McKelty and Gwendolyn have been having through their podcasts. What do they do? Podcasts? This is
the
why,
Patreon. Yeah,
or their Patreons. This is why the producers are doing this. And it was like, you know what? Leave it to the YouTubers to cover, because the
yeah,
YouTube the YouTubers are the ones that keep people interested in the Sister Wives and looking forward to the next season.
yeah. Because even the fan questions that I saw they picked, they were like, what would you tell your younger self? Or are you ever going to change your hair? It's like, no, we want to know the big stuff. Like, why do you ignore your kids? Why didn't you go to Isabel's surgery? Like we want to talk
Yeah.
about that.
Are you going
Not,
to sue them for the money that was, are you going to try to take,
yeah,
some of the Robin's house, the money that you invested, kind of thing.
yeah,
Anyways, Grace, we need you next time up here.
Oh, no, maybe we'll see. Maybe.
or Cassandra,
Yeah,
somebody.
one of us, both of us. You can have both of us, and then you'll go completely crazy. Yeah, but definitely, I think we need to have you guys do a part two because you have filled up 2 hours and it seems like 5 minutes.
I'm so sorry.
No,
I'm so
no, no, no. 2 hours is our normal time, but it just seems like you're there was no lull, like you're just getting started. So
It's a lot.
definitely,
It's really
yeah,
a lot. All right. So we'll reconvene in a few weeks.
yeah,
We'll do another part.
yeah,
yeah. Or message me in Discord anytime too if you want to vent
yeah.
about Robin.
Are you
Yes,
back
I
on
will.
Discord?
Sorry?
Are you back on Discord?
Yeah, I'm on Discord. I gotta send friend requests. Send me, you know what? Give me your IDs because every time I go back
Okay.
in Discord, I forget my password and I have to open up another
Okay.
Well, my name's the same. It's the Carly no Twitter, one
Oh,
word.
Okay.
Carly, no Twitter blocked by ModX.
Blocked by mod. Oh
I got rid of
boy.
that part, but
You did? Oh, okay.
yeah.
Have you guys been seeing never mind. That's a whole
Yeah,
different
that's a
show.
whole nother
Oh boy.
life.
Oh, a whole different. Oh crap. I had somebody in my DMs that was very interesting. Very
Oh,
interesting.
oh. Anyways,
Anyways, it's a whole different. But anyways, Grace, send me yours on Twitter,
okay.
and then this way, and yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And
All right.
thank you
Well,
so,
hang in
so
there.
much.
You can, yeah, hang around for a little bit, just saying, and we'll end the stream. And
Okay.
just guys, watch your notifications. We don't know exactly for sure yet. We might be doing a game stream on New Year's Eve like we did last year. Probably not be ringing in every time zone like we did last time, or at least the Western Hemisphere time zones. But we might be doing something like that. So just keep your eye open and have a good and safe Happy New Year, y'all. And we're so
Yes.
happy that you came and stayed with us, and definitely look for part two to come.
Yeah.
Yes,
Thanks,
and thank you.
everybody.
Thanks for having me. And I won't be able to make the New Year's stream, but
Oh,
I,
no worries.
I definitely in the new year things are calming down in my household, so I'll be able to like come play my games with
Yay!
you guys
Yay.
because I really
Yay!
miss those. I really miss those. Every time I see it, it's like, oh my god, it's over.
Oh, good. All right.
Okay,
Well,
thanks
we will see you
everybody.
soon.
Okay,
Bye.
thanks Carly.
Bye.
Okay, take care.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Oh, she